Okay, so we are live, and I'm hoping that you guys can hear the background noise that I have because I got two company today. Well, one is I got a little stranger to the internet, that's for sure, not to my life. Okay, so we are live. Oh, and I'm hoping that you guys can hear the background noise that I have because I got two company today. Yeah, sound is background noise to the internet, that's for sure, not to my life. Oh, gee, okay. Hopefully that sound is going to go away pretty soon. I have a my dryer's running in the background there, so it's been making a little bit more noise than usual. So hopefully the sound will be okay for today's live. Welcome. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Dwayne. I'm the founder of SnapSuite, which is a construction software. And I have another company called LeadScore AI that focuses on helping you sell to different businesses. And on today's channel, we're not going to be talking about any of those things. We're going to be talking about vibe coding. So basically taking all of the lessons that I've learned on building software, building applications, real world projects, and sharing the vibe coding experience with you. Some of the things that's working for me, some of the things that hasn't worked. And today we're going to be continuing from last week. So last week I was building out this meeting manager system. What is a meeting manager system? Glad you asked. Do you have, sorry, I'm seeing a message from Alan here. Do you have a tech background? 100%. Yeah, being a software developer for 20 years. So hopefully that's good enough of a background. But yes, I do. I've been not only a developer, this is my third startup that I'm building, and just got a ton of experience with just like building, scaling large applications, small application, everything in between. Why, is that something you're interested in? I should put my credentials somewhere up here so people could think, but I'm not trying to share my credentials, just trying to share knowledge. But yeah, let me know if you want to know any single thing. Just wondering. Okay, fair enough, cool. Well, you're in the right place. You got somebody that actually knows a thing or two, I would say, about software development. Been doing it for a while. Hey, Mr. Paul, work from home. I know you. Seen you before. Welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, so I was just saying, so we're going to be jumping in, building a meeting manager. What is a meeting manager? Well, let me explain the problem that I have. So I don't know about you guys, but I am on a ton of meetings all the time, every time. All right, I got customer meetings, I got internal meetings, I got new networking meetings. It's just meetings all the time. So one of the biggest problems with that, the fact that I'm jumping on these meetings, is you got to take notes, obviously, of all the things and the action items and whatever. And listen, man, I'll be real with you guys. I have probably one of the most scatterbrain that exists out there. And so I will write things down in my book, which I've been doing lately, like literally a physical book. I keep it by my desk all the time, like a legit notebook with pen and paper, yeah, even though I'm a digital person. But I never go back and actually look at those notes. Very rarely. Sometimes I do, like before a meeting or something, I'll go do it. But for the most part, it's like capture, but never go back into. I actually rely more on my digital note-taking tool, which is my AI that jumps into these meetings and records, obviously the video, but it also comes up with action items and to-do lists and things that people have to do. And so that's great. Fantastic. The problem that I've been experiencing with these tools is I have like 2 years, maybe 3 years now of archive, meeting notes, etc. And I can't, to this day, sort of just group it by company and just kind of see at a high level what are all the things that I talked about over the years, let's say with a company, right? Or with a specific individual. Let's say I want to get a summary of all the things that I talked about for the last 6 months with John. There's no easy way to do that today's world, and I have a few tools that I use: Read AI, Firefly, I think it is. I'm forgetting the name now, or Firecrawl. I'm forgetting the name. There's 100 of these tools out there. In fact, I have a whole YouTube channel that I talked about a lot of these tools. The problem is that it's like they just don't have a like that's not their focus. Their focus is not to aggregate the data in the way that I care about it. So what I'm trying to solve with this particular app that I'm building is something very simple. I'll continue to use one of the many tools that exist out there that's going to record the notes and extract the transcript and all that kind of fancy stuff. It's going to send me the raw JSON or the structured data that it extracted, and then I'm going to use my AI to then put that in the right company, group it by company, group it by whatever history that I want to be able to group it by, and then be able to sort it, and then I could ask questions against those notes in a way that makes sense for me and my world. So hopefully that makes sense to you, and hopefully that's something you guys are interested in. So hang on, TikTok is showing me something here. Let me just see. GIF suspended. Why does GIF suspended? I don't know. I'm just gonna click appeal. The notice is unclear. My life does not contain content. Yeah, the notice is unclear. Let's just do that. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be building, and hopefully that's of interest to you guys. So last week we were on here and we kind of set the foundation, the groundwork. I'll give you guys a quick recap on what we did last week, and then we'll kind of jump into the new stuff. So we use Claude Design. And for those who don't know what Claude Design is basically Anthropic's sort of beta tool that they have that is very hyper focused on design. So in the past, you would have seen me use something like Google Stitch, or Lovable, or maybe even V0. There's a few other tools I would have used on the market. Lovable, or maybe V0. V0, not many people know about it, but it's a great tool actually for development. Or sometimes I would even use something like 21 Dev. That has tons of community. These are great sources for finding like inspirations and coming up with design concepts, etc. However, of lately, I've just been using Claude Design because it's just that good. For example, I'm actually in the middle of rebuilding my website right now, and what I did is I basically just gave it just the main website, and I asked it for 3 different versions, a minimum version. So this is what it kind of gave me as a home page, a bold version, which is a little bit more colorful kind of deal, and a product-led version, where it's focused more on the product. And this is what I did is I gave it the actual real screenshot, and I told it to come up with sort of like a kind of a hybrid between a real screenshot and a prototype screenshot. And so that's what it did. But this is fantastic for that, and it's done a really good job. So now I just exclusively use Claude Design for designs, and we're going to be building this on Cloudflare. Those who don't know Cloudflare, if you don't know, all I talk about is Cloudflare, because I think Cloudflare is by far the best platform for building globally scalable applications at the cheapest costs. This is the thing that I promote the best, because any single thing I build is about global scale. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be working on today. Hopefully you guys are excited about it. We're just going to be continuing. I'm going to kind of jump into code. Appeal not approve. We reviewed your appeal and confirmed that gifting and visibility for this live cannot be restored in the recommended and search. Why? I don't even understand why. Great. So okay, sounds like we're going to have a very limited audience today, because for some reason my appeal from YouTube is anyway, whatever, doesn't matter, it is what it is. So yeah, so I'm surprised I don't have a meeting set up with my wife at this point. Hey, you know what, that's not a bad idea. I want to be clear with that. So I know you're joking around, but I'll be real with you. I try to schedule meetings with my wife, and for one reason, as you know, in North America, we get, there's so many meetings on all different types of front. But the truth is, if you don't schedule time for your personal life, you kind of end up in a situation where it's like you just, you're as a couple, you just kind of drift, right? So the truth is, personally, I'm going to share my personal experience here. What I try to do is we try to schedule at least one coffee date every 2 weeks. And we pre-book it in advance so that we know that we can do it, because my wife, her schedule, she's a nurse and she works these sort of like 4 days on, 5 days off kind of situation, and it kind of keeps rotating. So no week is ever the same. 2 days, 2 nights, 2 days, 2 nights. So it's just, we're constantly in this turmoil of upside and down. And so as a result of that, I found that it absolutely makes sense for me to pencil in, when are we going to meet up, you know, outside of my kid, who happens to be, by the way, with me today. Say hi, Carter.
Hi.
Hopefully you guys could hear that. He's hanging out with me today because apparently it's supposed to be half day daycare, which basically translates to no daycare. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I hear you probably work from home, but yeah, man, like you may as well just jump on the bandwagon and just you know, schedule a meeting with your wife, because it's actually, sadly we've come to that point in society where you almost have to, right? Else you just get bombarded by stuff. So yeah, it's a great idea. I genuinely mean this. It's actually one of the best things that we've done, and I'll tell you why. I'll give you sort of an insight into this, because there was a point in my life, even before I had my kid, who, anybody that has kids know that kids just completely turn your world upside down, and you lose, you know, as parents and as a couple, you get drifted, because now the kids kind of jump in between, and they kind of put a wedge between you, so you have to kind of like dance around the kids' schedule and that kind of stuff. Anybody that's a parent knows exactly what I'm talking about here. So, but even before we had a kid, because of her rotated schedule, there was literally a time where I would be leaving for work at like 7:30, 8 a.m. or something like that, and she would be coming home from work, like from a night shift, at that exact same time. We would literally be passing each other in the hallway, and then we'd just be gone our separate ways. And then by the time I'm coming back home at like 6:37, she's literally leaving at like 7:30 to go to work. So this was a thing for like a while, and we're like, this is ridiculous. Like we can't even see each other because of her rotating schedule. And so literally saying, okay, next week I'm gonna have 5 days off. We're gonna do 12 o'clock booked meeting. It's blocked off on my calendar, so nobody can book it. And you know, we sort of do like an hour and a half, whatever, lunch break or whatever the deal is. We'll go to a coffee shop. We'll just sit down and just kind of catch up and chat. Fantastic. And especially based on the fact that, you know, going in the evening requires babysitter and all this kind of craziness. Like, just schedule it in the day. Just makes sense. So yeah, highly recommend that. Such an important thing. So not that we're here for family advice and wife, you know, relationship advice, but hey, if I could help a brother out, I will. Okay, so what are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing I see you, the team RHO. I'm with you. Yeah, I agree with you. So what are we going to do today? We're going to jump in. We're going to do this meeting thing. I'm going to show you guys what I have in a second here. By the way, this is my Cloudflare. You guys are seeing my live dashboard for Cloudflare here. I was actually sorry, I'm trying to resize this one thing here. Okay, hang on. Okay, hang on 1 more second here. I'm distracted for a second here. I'm trying to put these messages. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that should be good enough. So yeah, look at this. I got 335,000 traffic on my website, workers, cash. I'm doing a ton of stuff, caching. I probably got application here, and I'm showing you guys this just because it was just purely by accident, but just to give you some promote Cloudflare. So look at my bill. My bill is $27 for the month, which is insane. Okay, look at this. I have inside of here now at least, I don't know. So here, 800, nearly a million requests in the last in the last 30 days, basically, from just stuff. And I got 159 apps inside of this application. Okay, that's to tell you how good Cloudflare is. Okay, observability events in that time frame, 2 million sort of thing, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff inside there. I'm not trying to say this to say that yeah, I am saying this. I'm saying that literally, like, if you guys are not in Cloudflare, like, I don't know what you're doing. You're wasting time, man. Like, fantastic services. And that includes AI services, by the way. Okay, like, so yeah. All right, let's jump to our actual thing that we're going to be talking about today. I digress. I apologize. My brain is scatterbrained all the time, so you guys have to bear with all the craziness. So meeting manager dashboard. So what does our dashboard look like? This is what we built out. I'm going to be real with you. It's not the best looking application, but we can always iterate on the design. I want to get the functionality going today, and then we're going to jump into the details a little bit. So what does it do? On the surface, you have these workspaces, which I realized was actually a good idea because Claude gave it to me. So I could have a workspace for family, right? You know, booking meetings with your wife, right? You could have a meeting for your company A, company B, company C, right? Or you could just have one workspace. But I think I'm actually going to group them by companies because I'm running multiple companies and therefore I need to kind of segregate by things. So that's what the workspace is going to do. And then in each company, I have on the side panel sort of like the contacts slash what would I call it? The contacts slash companies, right? So group by companies. You click on a company or a contact and it shows you all of the meetings that you had with that particular company or contact. And then here you got a summary of it. And on the right side, you have all of the action items that you have for that company. So this just allows you a single pane view where you could really see, okay, here's the company, here's all the meetings that I had. This is the sort of the current meeting summary. You could get the summarized version of it. And then here are all the action items. So, you know, you can just kind of jump into meetings like rapidly and just quickly just glance at this, get some information to understand what is it that you need to be talking about in the next meeting. So hopefully that's of interest to you guys. All I use is because of you. Hey man, I appreciate you being present. Hi Colette, how are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, you know what? I don't know what's going on with my life today because apparently TikTok is banning me or something. So we're gonna have a small audience today. But I appreciate you guys jumping in. Are you using Cloudflare for mobile apps too? Yes, 100%. So with regards to Cloudflare and mobile apps, what I'm doing is I didn't mention this, but maybe I should. I have another app called Affordly, Affordly, and it's a hybrid where it's actually a React Native shell, which basically means it translates to a real native application. However, the inside pages is essentially a PWA inside of it. So it has some web pages. So what I do is I kind of fluctuate between where it should be a web page versus where it should make sense to have native functionality. The user can't tell the difference because it just looks the same from a branding, from a UI standpoint. But I built it this way because I wanted the speed of being able to test the application rapidly. So using the PWA to test it out, send people the beta version of it, get them to start using it, and then once I kind of knew what I was building, then I actually turned that into an actual real app itself. So hopefully that makes sense for you, Mr. The team RHO. Cloudflare is legit. It absolutely is, and it's going to get significantly better now that everyone new has joined the team. I talked about this last week, but I'm going to mention it quickly again. So EVANYOUVITE or void zero, VOIDE. Oh my goodness, can't spell. VOIDE void zero, Cloudflare. So Evan Yu has joined Cloudflare, and for those who don't know who Evan Yu is, he is the founder of Nuxt.js, Nuxt. Well, I shouldn't say he's not a founder of Nuxt.js. He's founder of Vue.js, which happens to be a progressive framework that I use. This is the original version, but we're now at like Vue, I don't know, Vue 4 or something like that. Vue.js, for at least Vue 3, right? So he is the founder of this platform. And then Nuxt is sort of like the full stack version, which is the next equivalent of it. Void Zero is a little bit more abstract layer because he's basically been rewriting the entire JavaScript engine from end to end, literally. And I've been a fan of his work for a really long time, and seeing him join Cloudflare just gives me more confidence that Cloudflare is gonna just blow up. I promise you guys that Cloudflare will blow up way past Vercel and way past Supabase and some of these other platforms for like this sort of like let's call it the vibe coding category. It's not truly vibe coding, but it's sort of this modern stack development. And the fact that they already are solid on security and they're solid on infrastructure on the back end, this is like icing on the cake. And yeah, I'm very, very bullish about what I'm seeing is going on in this space. I actually got to talk about this a little bit more on my YouTube channel, because there's a lot of stuff here that most people are not connecting the dots on, and I'm super excited about it. So okay, are we gonna build some code or what? Or are we gonna just keep talking all the time? Jeez. All right. So yeah, let's get some stuff done. So what do we do? So I have. Oh, I should promote my school. Jeez. And by the way, if you don't, you haven't already, join the school community. Ask me for the link. I'll drop it in the chat, and we could talk about that. And okay, so oh no, this is not the right repo. This is the right repo here. Okay, so let me see where I'm at. I'm just gonna pull it up and then I'll talk through what the details. And you know what I should do? I should actually increase the code size for you guys. So let me do that. All things I'm doing after the fact. In the meantime, how are you guys preparing for your oh, we got Canada Day coming up for my Canadian people in the house. Canada Day is coming up, and for the Americans, 4th of July is coming up. So that means nobody's getting any work done next week. Okay, hang on. Let me change my settings here, and then we're gonna. I promise you, we're gonna write some code. We're gonna actually write some code today. We got stuff to do. I'm slow with the code writing today. So replace. No, which screen do I want to replace? Jeez, bread. I think it's this one. Is it this one? No, that's the wrong screen. It's this one. Yeah, that's the one. And then we got to do this arrange thing because Apple is a little bit annoying. Come on. There we go. Slide. Oh my god. There we go. Done. Okay. Think we're good. Hopefully that's a little bit bigger. We're going to make VS Code a little bit bigger as well too. All right. So what do we have here? We have, let me just run this. Okay. So I'm going to point. So mostly, just as a side note, and I'm mentioning this, I have Claude open, and I have Claude open. Why? Because for code stuff and for design, I use Claude, and for like development, I use Codex, ChatGPT, if you will, and then I fluctuate in between. So if I have a really hard problem that I need to solve, I'll start it out on Codex. Like I've been doing this a lot. This has been my workflow a lot lately. For example, I'll create like here ticket audit, for example, right? I had this really complicated problem. It doesn't really matter what the issue is, but it was a pretty deep problem. So I'll go back to Opus 4.6 and I'll get it to do a full analysis of the problem, because I find that Opus 4.6 really spends a lot of time going through like granular details. I just don't know why the newer models are not doing this, but I find that Opus 4.6 is very consistent about just exploring just tons of stuff, and it does a pretty good job with that. So I get it to do that, then I'll literally copy that exact same, like I'll literally just highlight this, copy it over, and then I'll go into I'll go into ChatGPT and I'll open up a new tab and I'll literally say, can you review this entire thing, audit it, and find any holes in the analysis? And that's been phenomenal in just getting like really, really deep, complicated things worked out, because Opus has already done the work of kind of like modeling all of the context that it needs to give me. And then I'm taking that now and adding it to ChatGPT. I'm saying ChatGPT, but I mean Codex. And it's doing a deep dive on it, and that's just been a really good workflow for me altogether. No Claude in VS Code. Yeah, that's a great question. So thank you for the heart, Mr. Somebody. Power work from home. Yes, thank you for the heart. So Claude in VS Code. So you know what? I haven't been using this as much, and I'll tell you why. It feels very like just slapped together for me, for lack of a better word. It doesn't feel polished, and that's because I'm coming from Copilot. So I've been a die-hard Copilot fan until they just just pull the plug, like literally just pull the rug under my feet by just charging me these insane amount of costs. Okay, and I'm not even afraid to show you that this is a live, so I'm not even BSing you guys. Okay, I'll show you this right now. So on my GitHub, I've had to upgrade my plan to the enterprise plan so I could get even half decent type of stuff. And look at this. Look at the bills that I'm thinking. Okay, look at this. I'm at $725 metered usage right now. Current bill includes and it's 200 or whatever. And I've had to up the budget. Just consistently, just trying to be able to get like performance. So I've been using Codex. Sorry, I've been using ChatGPT. Oh I'm totally messing this up. Bear with me. I'm using Copilot. Sorry, I've been using Copilot exclusively, and it's been really, really good. The thing that I love about Copilot is being very, very consistent. In when even though a lot of people have been complaining that Claude was doing all kinds of weird stuff and whatever, Copilot was not doing that. It was very, very consistent, and that's because I know that Microsoft has an intermediate layer in between them and the model, and they've been very good about doing testing and making sure that it doesn't regress. So I've gotten the most consistent level of development on Copilot. However, as of lately, because of those crazy bills, right, I'm at what, $720 of usage on Copilot. I'm maxed out on my Codex, and I'm maxed out on Claude. So yeah, right. So at this particular point, I'm getting way more value on Codex and Claude. But to go back to your specific question, I find that the Claude experience in VS Code is very, very like, it's definitely not Copilot, that's for sure. Like it's definitely feels like an afterthought, because I think most of the Claude energy is going towards Claude Code, if that makes sense. So for that reason, I've tried it a couple times and it just hasn't necessarily worked out. Like even the Codex experience is significantly better in VS Code than it is, because for example, in VS Code, if I make it start a chat in VS Code for Codex, it keeps track of that history, and I could come across to the actual Codex app and continue that chat history. In fact, I could even see that chat history inside of Copilot. With Claude, none of that exists. It's a completely independent app that has like its own set of things. You know, there's these. So here, this is the chat history inside of here. It's just not a good experience. It's very flaky in my opinion. So anyway, that's the reason why I haven't been using it much. But if you got some better experience on it, let me know. What's the meeting manager and what does it do? It's a great question. Thanks for asking. So the meeting manager is basically a tool that helps you to kind of track your meetings. If you have tons of meetings like me, here, I'll give you a real world example because I explained it to other people before, but I'll give you guys hopefully I don't have any too much private information in here. Alright, it should be fine. It's a lot more internal meetings. So I use a tool called Read AI to do tons of my meetings. And as you can see, it just literally has meetings after meetings after meetings. And it takes a summary. Let me just find one that I could actually share here without yeah, this is like a sales call. So yeah, so it takes the like a transcript and whatever it is and puts it inside here. The problem is that this tool is now very good at organizing the meetings by company, so that I could just dial into it and be able to quickly find information that I want based on the company and the to-do list, right? So hopefully that makes some sense. So this is what it's going to be, right? So I'm going to be able to extract the data from that tool, bring it into this tool, see all the companies on one side, see all the meetings that I did, look at the actual review of that meeting, and then see all of the to-do lists for that particular meeting. So haven't experienced any of those issues with vibe coding and Claude. It's my go-to. Oh, interesting. That's interesting to know. Yeah, you know, listen, the good news is that everybody has their sort of weird preferences. I think what happened to me is that I just got really comfortable with Copilot because I've been using it for the last year consistently, and I've gotten accustomed to the experience with it, and then suddenly going to like Claude in VS Code feels like a regression. I think that's what happened to me more now. So I'm not saying it's a terrible experience. I'm just saying that like based on what I was accustomed to, it just feels a little bit sort of like out of place, and my brain just hasn't think. So as a result, what do? I'm using Claude Code more these days than actually using the experience inside of VS Code. And then so it's kind of sad, but the only thing I'm using VS Code for now is just to do commits, which is like it's the weirdest thing. I'm telling you guys, we're going through such a phenomenal paradigm shift in the way that we do work. It's unbelievable. And okay, I'm gonna rant for 5 more minutes, less than 5 more minutes. I promise you, we're gonna get to some code. Okay, I just want to share one of the newest things that I've been doing lately, because I feel like I'm starting to kind of really get into the habit of letting the AI do things first and then bring it to me. So of lately, I'll show you guys what I've been doing. I spent some time on this. I'll just share it, and I promise you, we're gonna do some code. This is just me just riffing about stuff that's been working for me. So on my biggest project, which is for sure past 1 million plus lines of code, I think we're at 1.5 million or something like that. It's pretty crazy. Excuse me. It's a mono repo. This is the main GitHub repo that I use, and I have the tasks that I normally work on in progress, and then my operations guy normally review the projects, make sure that they're working correctly or whatever. Of lately, I've set up 2 automation, one on Claude and the other one on Codex, and what they do is basically every day at 2 a.m. Why 2 a.m.? Because Claude gives you more credits if you work off hours. So I have a routine that goes through every day at 2 a.m. and it basically goes and it pulls out the top 5 GitHub issues to work on, and it just starts to work on them. And then it'll work on those issues, and then it'll put a full summary at the bottom in the comments of exactly what it did, what it's doing, and then it'll make a decision on whether I need to review it, or it can basically label it as done. It does that, but then, like I said, Codex is good with Claude Code is very good with some things, but on some things it's not. So then I have, and I know this might seem a little bit redundant and maybe even counterintuitive, but I have Codex an hour later that goes back and does a second pass review, not necessarily on those issues, but additional issues. It will also review those issues to figure out if it missed anything. So I have both of them working 2 a.m. every single day, and then what it does is sends me an email, and it gives me a report in the morning every day that I could go through, and I could click through and see the task. So for example, it'll say, hey, I worked on this particular issue, it was fixed, this was the problem, etc. And then I could actually, let me see if I could give you a Codex version example, because the Codex does a pretty good job of organizing it a little bit better. So here, daily, no, not this one. No, this is subscription. I don't want to do subscription. I want to do schedule here. There. So daily review tasks. Yeah. So how do I see? Wait, hang on. Is it in here? Hang on. I gotta find it now. Too many things. Oh, weird. I can't actually see the. Oh, here. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. So here. No, that's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for subscription change, weekly subscription, daily task list. Yeah. Okay. Low sweep. There we go. Yeah. Okay. There's one I'm looking for. Yeah. So you see here, it'll give me a report assessment that basically shows me tickets, exactly which ticket, why the issue, and what it's working on, whether it decided to fix it or not, or whether it decided to label it as, okay, I need to take a hold of it, and I've given it some of that criteria. This has been a game changer for me, honestly. Just today alone, like this week alone, look at my backlog. Like, I had about, I don't know, I forgot how many issues in here, but there was definitely about like 70 or 80 backlog issues. Look at this. My backlog is literally the opposite, because the AI has gone through 90% of the work already, gotten it to a point where most of the stuff are kind of sitting in progress, and most of the stuff is sitting for review. And by review, I mean this has already been shipped. It's literally been shipped, because as long as my automated tests pass, we ship. And then we go review in production, which is, not for everybody. I just want to be clear with that. It's very risky, but I spend an enormous amount of time going through to fact check that the core parts of the app should just work 100%, and then if it breaks, it will not ship, but if it passes those tests, like, we actually ship. So yeah, so anyway, just thought I'd share that with you guys because that's been a game changer in terms of the way that I work with stuff altogether. Okay, let me catch up on the messages, and then I promise you we're gonna start writing some code. So hang on. Totally makes sense. You should use /remote control. So I have been playing around with the remote stuff. The thing that I find, so I don't have remote control experience with Claude. Okay, I only have remote control experience with Copilot. And one of the issues that I've been running into is because my code base is so big, Copilot keeps prompting me to increase the VM size of my VM because it keeps running out of memory because it can't do all the tests inside of the smaller VMs that it's using, and that's been that blocker every time, and I end up with issues where the code would start working and it would half finish because the VMs run out of space in the remote space. So I haven't been able to set up like a proper VM to manage the code base size that I'm working with, and as a result I was like, you know what, my computer locally is doing good enough, so I spin it up on this computer. I got another M1 out on the other side. I spin up a bunch of stuff, I just let it run. But yeah, I'm going to explore more of the remote stuff because I don't like the fact that if my computer is off at 2 a.m. nothing gets done, which is crazy, right? Just FYI, you can continue Claude Code in your browser. Yep, definitely familiar with that. Makes sense. Do you have instructions on how to do this? Yes, I have it go to reattach for me to give in. Okay, hang on. Okay. Gotta read the message again, Claude. Do you have instructions on how to do this? Okay, so I presume you're talking about what I just explained just now. Yes, I have it. Go reattach for me and give me a snippet. DAI. Don't know what DAI stands for. Reattach equals research. Okay, I have it go and research okay for me and give me a snippet of the research or daily. Okay, got it. Yeah, okay. So I presume you're saying that you wanted to know how I'm doing the automation that I'm doing. That was kind of the question. I should put a write-up for all this stuff, man. I'm just running out of so much time, but I promise you, I finally set up my own website, dwayne.me, because I'm like, I gotta get all of this content out. So I'm working on my own stuff, but I'm also working on the school community as well too. It's a work in progress because it's stuff that I really want to share the details of as I kind of learn it, but it's a time thing to like take the knowledge, wrap it up, package it up, and then push it out properly in a formatted way for people. I see I have been summoned. I build AI. That's awesome, man. Welcome to the club, Mr. Very VR God. So yeah, okay. Are we gonna write some code or what? Like, we gotta build something, guys. Come on, we're here to write code. It's literally a vibe coded channel. I've been chatting for the last hour, so. Gotta go, but I appreciate all you do and share. Hey, absolutely, man. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for hanging out with me. By the way, mango and apple juice, frozen mango, apple juice, fantastic. Oh, I got one of those thingies. Thank you, whatever that was. I don't know what it is. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Go back and watch the recording. Follow me on LinkedIn if you haven't already, or on YouTube or any other platform. Okay, code time. No more BS. All right, let's write some real code. So let's go run this application just so we could see what we have. I got too many things open. Codex. Okay. So meeting manager. Actually, I'm just curious while I'm gonna kick off some stuff here. Hey, can you run my application locally so I could just kind of test it and see where we're at with it, and then give me a full summary of the to-do list, what's outstanding. So love the website. Thank you, appreciate that. So let's do a little mini poll while we have a couple of people in the house. Who's using Claude primarily? Put a 1 for Claude, put a 2 for Codex. Just kind of curious who's using what inside of here. And while you guys do that, I'm going to eat a mango. Codex. Anybody else? Who's using Claude? 1 for Claude, 2 for Codex. 1 for Claude, 2 for Codex. I'm just curious. Because I feel like Codex is of lately, they've been really just hitting the nail on the head in terms of what they're doing with their platform. I'm finding that it's really, like, it's just really weird while I wait for this thing. We went from chatting to this is how I went. I went from chatting, which everybody did, obviously, to then using AI in the Visual Code editor, right, in VS Code, and chatting inside the VS Code in the context of the code. And it's weird because now I'm starting to appreciate this model a little bit more, which is not even looking at the code. And most people say this, like I've heard the guy that what's his name, Steinberg, whatever his name, from the creator of OpenClaw, say this exact same thing. He's like, I don't even look at the code anymore. And I was like, no, you kind of have to look at the code. Like, it's important that you look at the code to kind of understand what's going on. And the truth is, just purely on the fact that I've built up enough sort of like confidence, but also like intuition on the model, I've come to a place where I'm looking at the code significantly less. The only time I spend time on code is if I want to understand the code, and even that I'm using ChatGPT Codex to sort of analyze it, which I find very interesting. It's such a weird shift, especially somebody that's like, I don't know, a control freak. So okay, so this is what we have locally. So hang on, can I pull this out a little bit more? Yeah, okay. So right, and every single thing here is in to-do list. So we got to do the back end for this. So that's basically what we're gonna do. And let me see what else we have in the so run. Okay, cool. Can you give me a high level to-do list of what needs? Oh, it's still running. Sorry, I thought it was finished. Can you use Codex with Visual Studio, the grown-up version? Yes, you absolutely can. So Codex really is just a folder-based structure, right? Like when you add, see here, if I go into Codex here and I say add new project, it literally just asks me for a folder. So you could point it at anything. In fact, most of the time now, I point Codex to give you guys an idea, I point Codex to my documents folder. And if I need to create like a Word document, a PowerPoint, a presentation, a sales thing, I just tell Codex go do it. That's how I'm using Codex now. It's now my go-to for creating pretty much anything. I need to create a presentation, I need to create a sales script, I need to create an image, an ad. Look at this, I created a bunch of ads. Actually, total side note, random conversation. I've been running some ads in Antigua for my dad's company in the Caribbean. Okay. It's not in here, but the entire thing. So this is the ads. I've been running some ads for my dad as electrical engineer in the Caribbean. And I set it up. I had Codex create the ads, set up the entire thing, create a Facebook page, and create the campaign in Facebook and start running the ads. And it's been phenomenal. The ads have been performing. I think I spent like $300 last week on it. I got like 31 leads out of it. And we've already converted like 3 businesses out of it already. It's insane. It's kind of crazy. That $300 will turn into like a minimum like $7,500, which is pretty impressive. So, and that was done by literally just setting up Claude Codex to do everything. I was like, create the ads, update every. Oh my goodness, lost my camera. Hang on. Hopefully it'll come back for you guys. Hopefully. 1 second. Yep. There. Jeez. Okay, hang on. I don't know if you guys see my camera on TikTok. It might be. Is it frozen? Put a 1 in the chat if I'm still moving on TikTok. Put a 0 if I'm not moving on TikTok. It's frozen. Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, I'll see if I can fix it. If not, we'll just have to leave it. You guys will just have to hear my voice, which is better anyway. Better than my face. Okay, let's see if we can fix it. FaceTime. Switch to FaceTime camera. That is not a pretty sight. That is not. You guys are seeing right up in my nose hole. Okay, let's switch back. Okay, there we go. I think we're good. Yeah, I think it's good. Do you use OBS? I do not. I'm using Ecamm Live. Why don't I use OBS? Frankly, it's not. I got nothing against OBS. I've used it for years actually, but I just wanted to just pay and just not have to deal with like technology. I got enough technology to worry about. I just wanted somebody else to deal with their problems. So I use a program called Ecamm Live, ECAM Live, which I'm on a Mac. This one here. It's cost me like $50 a month or something, but I'm like, I'd rather pay for it and just have it just kind of. It's not my problem. I was like, I just want to go live. Somebody else to deal with the thing. Whereas with OBS, you kind of have to fight a little bit to kind of get it going. It's not a really fight. It's just that you just kind of tinker with it a little bit much, right? It's the Apple versus iOS type of conversation. No, sorry, Apple versus Android, iOS versus Android, right? One is like, whatever you give me out of the box, although that's changing over recently, I'll take. iOS, Android is more like, okay, I want to customize it and, you know, tweak it to my thing. So that's the reason why. Okay, do we have our action plan? Talking way too much today, man. Way too much. For the newcomers, you're like, man, this guy can talk. Jeez. Okay, what do we have? Let's see. Fix equipment, mono repo. No, that's not. I'm in the wrong project. Okay, run locally. Okay, here we go. All right, what do we have to do? Let's see what we got. So we're gonna cover the two loads. Okay, add or create edit flow for companies contacts they currently display. Replace local prototype AI with a real model. Okay, yeah, we should probably get to that. Where's the data? Assign. So you know what? Let's just do it this way. Let's do the right thing. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're in the vibe coded spirit, so we got to do the vibe coded thing. All right. The thing that I haven't done. Let me just get rid of this project here because I keep jumping to it. This is my actual project. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna move this to an actual public repo. And then we're gonna make the to-do. We're gonna make the to-do list public as well too. So at least the issues are there, and then you guys can actually. So what should we name it? We should name it Meeting Manager. Yeah. Meeting Manager. So the owner is gonna be Dwayne Brown. I'm gonna name it Meeting. Manager. This is a application that helps you manage your meeting notes and to-do lists for every meeting. And visibility is public. I think we're gonna make it public for now. Sure. Git ignore. We're gonna do a git ignore for Node. Node DE. And license, we're gonna make it MIT. Why not? Because, you know, give away all of our free work. Description. Do you want Copilot to build? Yeah, we're not using Copilot, buddy. Okay, so I'm gonna give it the this, and then I'll just get it to connect it and push up the code, and then we're gonna go from there. So, and then we're gonna create some tasks. So can you use this repo? Can you push the code to this repo? Put a README about what this application is about so people can follow along. Make it non-technical because people need to understand. Focus on the value of the tool and what it actually solves. And then I want you to take all of these to-do items and I want you to assign priority levels to them, P1, P2, P3. I want you to put the sort of like the module or the section or the focus, whether it's search or database or infrastructure, etc., dash and then the name of the item. and I want you to prioritize the infrastructure stuff around Cloudflare, because we're going to get that out of the way, and then we're going to do swapping over the data and making sure that the API works and all the other pieces. Also make sure that we have extremely strong rules around making sure that we don't leak any API keys. So make sure that any of my environment variables stay locally, so that, because this is a public API endpoint and it's going to be shared publicly on GitHub. So make sure that you have really strong guardrails. Put an agent.md file around leaking credentials and stuff, and make sure that every single time you do any sort of improvement upgrade, that you're going to fact check to make sure that we're not leaking API keys, not for Cloudflare, not for any of the infrastructure APIs or any single thing that we're going to be using. Thank you. No mistakes. Isn't that what the kids say these days? Yeah, fix every single thing, no mistakes. I thought that was funny. That's the meme that's going around these days. Alright, let's see what we got in the chat. Can you use Codex with VS Code Visual Studio? Yes, you absolutely can. I mentioned that before. That being said, though, the Copilot in Visual Studio Code is very, very good. It's really good because, and I'm talking about grown-up Visual Studio Code. I'm not talking about the one that I use, which is VS Code here, okay? Because it integrates extremely well with the build server and the build system. So as it's doing stuff, it runs its own build to fact check, and that fact checking of the build really helps to steer it and keep it guardrail. In fact, I would argue it's probably the best Copilot out there. There was a time when it was really crappy, but if you use Visual Studio with Opus 4.6 and you allow it to follow all the rules in your build system and you just let it on auto, it's phenomenal. Really, really good tool. Plus it stays on course a lot more, I find, than some of the other tools. That being said, though, I love VS Code just because of the lightweightness, and I do more front-end stuff. That's not true. I do equally front-end and back-end. Do you analyze other people's SaaS? Well, yeah, normally we do that on the channel. If you got one, bring it up. We're going to do it a little bit later on, maybe in another half an hour or so. We're going to try to get some real work done here, and then we can do some analyze. But I'm more than happy to look at it. Colette knows this. We do this all the time. We look at a lot of people's SaaS live. So yeah, 100%. We hear you but don't see you. Okay, got that under control now, I think. Yes, you guys can see me. Yeah, I think we're good. OBS, I did that one already. What's your GitHub? GitHub is Dwayne Brown. Join the community first, because, got to promote the community. By the way, we're past 200 members, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Now I got to really turn this into something, because I'm like, geez, I got 200 people that are dependent on me to actually give information, content, and advice, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything with it. So join the community, and you'll have all my links. But for the GitHub, this is I'm going to give you the direct one for this one here, so you guys will have access to the code, and then we're going to work on this together. But yeah, feel free to use this. Go build a SaaS with it. I don't care. Like, I'll give you my code. If you make $1 million, send a percentage over to me. That's all I ask. Okay. It's my idea, so I need something for it. I'm just kidding. Do whatever you want to do with it. I got enough SaaS going on. I got enough stuff going on. I'm more than happy to share this, and hopefully somebody can make some money from it. I've learned in life that the idea means absolutely nothing if you can't execute on it. And so from that perspective, I'm willing to share as many ideas as I possibly can and hope that one person will execute on one of them and get it to something substantial. He gives great feedback. Oh, thank you, Claude. I appreciate you. All right, where are we at? Okay, we're going to build something. Come on. Okay, we're waiting on code to be built. All right, so what are we doing here? By the way, these mangoes are from Costco. They're still good. Sorry. I know it's impolite to eat in front of people, but I don't care. You guys are my friends. So what are we going to do is just while we kill some time here. So first of all, we're checking in the code. It's going to be public. You guys can get access to it. We're creating an agents.md file, right? That agents.md file, for those who don't know, for my newbie here, is just going to be able to kind of steer the AI. Think of it like a rule, like the 10 commandments, if you will, right? That kind of gives the AI a set of rules for it to follow while it kind of develops its plan. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get it to publish all of the tasks inside of the issues section, so that we could just have like a list that we could kind of follow. It'll just help us to kind of be a little more organized. Since we're doing this live and we're doing it publicly, we may as well just put sort of do it the right way, like do it the open source way. I'm not an open source developer, but we could do it that way. And then the good news is that you guys can run it and test it and use it, and if you run into problems, then you could file bugs against it, and maybe we could make like the best AI tool possible. And hey, one day we could dream about putting it publicly on the internet and selling it and making money from it. Who knows, right? But for now, we're just going to build a tool that will help us to work. So that's what we're going to try to do. And then maybe what I'll do too, I don't know how actions work in public. I don't know how that works. So I may or may not do this, because I don't know if actions, I don't know how actions would work in public. I don't think I've ever done that before. But what I was going to say is I'm going to try to see if we could set up an actions to push to Cloudflare. But I'll show you guys how to do that in the simplest way possible. So yeah. All right, where are we at? Are we done here? Okay, what do we have? Oh, this is, I keep getting between the two of them, I keep getting mixed up because they look so similar. Like, look at this. Like, the only difference is the formatting is a little bit off. I find that Codex does a pretty good job with their side navigation. Claude Code I find in code mode is very bland, whereas in co-work mode it has a little bit more sense of design and layout, and then in chat is just back to bland again. It's kind of weird how it is like that. It's literally 3 different projects kind of merge into one, and I think ChatGPT is going to do the same thing. They're going to start merging the ChatGPT app with the Codex app. So okay, so we have an agents.md file, and we have a readme file, and we have a roadmap file, and we have a thing. Why didn't it put up actual? Okay, so let's go see the roadmap file. Let's go look at it. So code agents.md. So let's go look at that, because again, some of you guys might not know this stuff, so I just want to kind of go slow for you guys. So the agents.md file, again, think of it like literally the 10 commandments for the AI. It literally tells the AI how to deal with the communication, the backend, all that type of stuff. How to deal with the repo, what to look for, what are the things that are important. Okay, so you see here, for example, non-negotiable credentials rule. Okay, never commit any API keys, access tokens, or any single thing, right? Never paste any secrets. Keep the environmental variables local variable dev, etc. Public examples may show variable names such as OpenAI, Cloudflare tokens, etc. Do not include real values, right? So it's just basically making sure that the AI never actually puts any data hard coded in my application, so that it becomes a little bit more, hopefully, secure. And these are things that are just going to keep checking every single time. So that's why it's, I'm literally saying it's like the 10 commandments file, because it kind of is for the AI. Cloudflare infrastructure rules, product direction. Okay, so we're building a meeting manager as clear as practical workflow, blah 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 blah, what happens, what we did, etc etc. And then here's the full PDR of it, PRD, sorry, project requirements document, and the data structure. So we kind of did all this last week, so I'm not really repeating myself here too much. I'm just kind of giving an overview. What we did is we kind of had a back and forth with ChatGPT and how we wanted to build it, and it basically created this, and now we're just putting it into a formal agents.md document. We have a readme document, a roadmap.md that kind of gives the priority, P1 issues, P2 infrastructure. So this is just basically like a
Daddy,
yes sir?
can you please open this?
Okay. Sorry, forgot to mention. Got my kid here today, babysitting. I've been told if it's my own kid, I'm not babysitting. I'm just sitting. There you go. So yeah, so okay, so now that we have this, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do one more thing here. We're gonna go to Meeting Manager. Okay, so let me just read this a little. So Meeting Manager is a workspace for turning scattered meetings into notes into clear follow-up. It helps people remember what happened, what was decided, who owns the next steps, and what is still owed. Sorry, man, TikTok just keeps like prompting me, keeps telling me that I'm streaming duration limit exceeded. Streaming to Dwayne Brown stopped. Continue without Dwayne Brown. Which one is that? Is that Instagram? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Something got killed. Let's see. Hang on 1 second. Let me just check and see. What is it? View profile. Okay. I think we're still live. Yeah, I think we're still live. So, yeah, okay. So what it solves, keep your meeting notes, blah, blah, blah. I want to improve this a little bit more. I'm just going to make some changes to my README. So I'm going to say, for the README, can you highlight some of the tools on the market that does meet and read in notes? So for example, like Read AI, Otter, Fire, something, I forgot the name of it, and some of the others. And say that it integrates with those tools by basically taking a webhook from those tools and pulling it into ours. So give you sort of a simplified view. Yeah. Fix your Calendly access. It's broken. Which one? On the website? Or in my school? Yes, on the website. Okay, got you. Thank you. I don't know what is it. I don't even know it was up there, to be honest with you. This is what happens when you have AI do your work for you. I will check it out for sure. It might have been linked. Oh, I think it was linking to an old link that I changed recently. Got you. Thank you. Consultation. Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm going to change that one for sure. Appreciate you. Okay, so what are we doing here? Right, we're still in setup mode, right? I'm really just trying to get some of the foundation in terms of like the actual thing. And if you notice, guys, I'm spending a little bit more time on this, partially because I'm on a live, obviously, but the other reason is because you set this up and you kind of get it right. You don't have to go back to this stuff again, right? Like it's just the structure, the mission of the application, whatever. The AI has enough context to kind of know what's going on. The other thing that's missing here is we don't have a documentation folder, and this is the thing that I'm going to encourage all of you guys to be doing if you're doing AI, is to do documentation. Is do the documentation and set it up properly. So I'll give you a real example thing of it. This is our internal stuff here, okay? But every single time, actually, I'll give you guys a couple of examples because I have tons of examples of this. DASH. Okay, so this is sitting on. 1 second. La la la. Doo-doo. Come on. Okay. All right. Okay. Don't ask me why there's 2 sign in. Okay. Oops, wrong account. Great. Sign out. Sign in. Which account is this? Jeez. Okay, hang on a second. Show every single account live. Hang on. I think it's, oh my goodness, which one is it? Too many accounts. I think it's this one. Okay, yes, there we go. So this is our internal app that basically just, it's more like it keeps track of stats and health and APIs and all kinds of stuff. It's really just my glorified, because there's so many things to run a business properly that I found that I was just jumping through too many tools. So even if I didn't write the tool, I link it in here. Like it's just one tab that I have to kind of keep track of things like operations, text, etc. Anyway, the thing that I want to talk about was, what was I going to show you guys? Oh, documentation. Yes. So hey, see here, docs, DOCX. So I have docs. Every single time the AI finishes a new feature for me, it literally goes in here and it writes documentation. So you see here, there's features. If I click on features, it has all of the features. Every single feature that was written is in here, organized by module, ingestion, for analytics, for integration, for settings, for like you name it, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So I can come in here, or somebody else can come in here, look at it, and then basically look and see exactly what the feature was, why it happened. And not only that, it was designed, and this is the important thing, the documentation was designed for human consumption, because the code can explain itself more or less. The AI is pretty good about reading the code, but the human beings are the ones that actually need help with trying to figure out like, what does this thing do? So it kind of clearly says, you know, what it is, what is the mission, how it works. Like it tries to be very, very descriptive, so a human being could just kind of understand very clearly, you know, what's going on. And then that goes on and on from documentation to API, etc. This is by far one of the best things I've done, because I'll show you guys the other side of this. So we have a task ticketing tool that basically gets all the tickets that come in from AI. I talked about this a couple weeks ago on my channel, but let me see if it's going to load. Of course, it's not going to load now. Oh, I'm on the okay, all sources. There we go. Yeah, okay, there we go. So we have a what do you call it? Okay, why is it not loading anything? Hang on a second. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. There's some sort of filter somewhere or something. But anyway, so we have a ticketing tool that basically brings in all the tickets and etc. It goes to GitHub, but it also goes into my own tool. And the reason for that, so here, let me show you just quickly. See if I could show it to you. So repos, and then now I gotta go to company, organization, Snapsuite, repos, and where are you? Issues. And if I click, so for example, yeah, so this issues P1 issue as an example. When that ticket gets created, obviously it creates a ticket number and stuff like that, but it has very clear instructions. The AI always puts its notes right at the top of the ticket, whatever it's done in the latest, so you don't even have to scroll down. You could just read the summary and know exactly what the AI is doing. And then it links to all of the different stuff, and it has the screenshots, etc., etc., and it has a whole bunch of stuff. Point is, it has the history. But the important thing that I'm mentioning here is that whenever a ticket comes in, the first thing that the AI does is it goes and it reads the documentation to figure out if it knows about this issue. How does it work? What should it do? It literally goes out to the website, reads the documentation to find information about it, and then it creates a ticket. Because when it creates a ticket, it has significant more context, and it gives a human being more context, but more importantly, it gives the AI more context so it could start doing its work. So just kind of mentioning that as a sort of in passing while we kind of wait for all this AI to do its thing. All right, let's see if it's actually done now. Yeah, okay. Lead tools instead. So what changed? Okay, so let's see if the documentation, again, I'm doing this kind of like the marketing way first. I'm doing the marketing first and don't need this. Okay, I gotta go to my personal now. Personal repositories, meeting manager. There we go. Okay, so we have, yeah, okay, here. So how it fits with meeting notes tool. There are already strong tools that join meetings, record conversation, create transcript, and write AI summaries. Example, Read AI, Otter, Fireflies, that's the one I was thinking about, Phantom, TLDR, Seemingly, Meet Greet. Meeting Manager is not trying to replace any recorder or note taker. The goal is to become a simple workspace where those meeting notes output becomes useful after the call. For example, A meeting tool can capture a transcript and summary. Meeting manager can then organize that information by company, person, meetings, history, and follow-up tasks so that the user gets a clear view of what matters, right? So it's basically an abstraction layer on top of any one of these tools. Business owners, who is it for? It's for business owners, consultant, account managers, etc. And yeah, okay, this is better. This is much better. Better README. Right, we're doing the marketing first before we actually do the actual building of the tool itself, right? All right. One more thing we got to do. We have to create our issues. So let's just make sure that we put our issues together and put them together. All right, so I'm going to create a new, yeah, let's just do this. Can you create the issues, put them in the actual issues for GitHub so we can start working on them? P1 issues, P2 issues, etc. P1 are all the infrastructure stuff around Cloudflare, database, saving, etc. P2 will be actually making it the API connected and everything, and then making the API actually work with real data. Also think about the fact that we have to have a webhook. That webhook should be a completely different Cloudflare Worker item, because it's going to be public, so I don't want to mix it in with the internal sort of application. Also, if you could organize a folder, group it into front end, back end, and docs. Those are the three folders that they want you to put: the front end folder, back end folder, and a docs folder. And obviously the README file is going to be in the thing. Every single thing else should be cleared out and put into those folders, with the exception of like agent.md and the obvious files that are needed on the root level. All right, so we're just going to do a little bit of organization on the file. Is it like account SW, or can we able to use it for construction project management? Oh, 100%, man. You can use it for anything. You can use this for anything. Once this is built, we'll be able to use this for any type of meetings, period. Okay, as long as you do meetings, we'll do it. And you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. One of the things that we can do is push this project a little bit further, in that we can make a mobile app that you can just record your own notes and have it record to your own device, and then have it sort of transcribe it and push those notes up to the cloud. I think that would actually be a really good addition to build on top of it. So we'll see what we're going to do, but I like that idea, because therefore we'll actually be able to build out the mobile version of the app as well too for it. But yeah, to answer your question, Mimo, it can be used for any type of projects, including construction. By the way, are you a construction guy? Is that your thing? No, I'm talking about SnapSuite. Oh, SnapSuite. Oh, you were asking about SnapSuite. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to tell you about my meeting manager tool. You were trying to ask me about my company. So yes, no, SnapSuite is an all-in-one system for contractors, not by contractors. I'm not a contractor, but I've been in the business for about 20 years now. Well, I shouldn't say that, 15 years with this platform, so I know the contractor space inside and out. So I'm an EA, PMP project trainer. PMP project trainer. Got you. So are you trainer? So PMP. Let me just make sure I got that right. PMP RAINER for project management. Yes, it's okay. So PMP. Let me just make sure I got that right. Make sure I got the acronym right. Project management professional trainer. So are you dealing with like general contractors and stuff like that, or general people that are in the project management general contractor space, or are you dealing with more like the trades guys, like the plumbers, electrical? Which one are you dealing with mostly? But to answer your question, absolutely. And in fact, I'd be interested in picking your brain about what you guys are, what kind of software projects are you guys teaching them? Are you guys using here? Let me open it. No, corporates and bank staffs. Okay, got you. Okay, cool. So a little bit different. So you're probably using things like Procore. Is that a fair assessment? Procore construction software. Yeah, okay, so you say you're dealing with no, corporates and bank staffs. Okay, yeah, Azure DevOps. Okay, got you. Okay, Okay, so a little bit. Okay, you're using Azure DevOps. Got you. Okay, I understand what you're doing. Yeah. So, don't think this would be SnapSuite would be the right fit for what you're doing. But there might be some overlap. It might be interesting to kind of get a little more deeper conversation about what you're doing to kind of think about it a little bit more. I mean, it does have inside of there. I'll pull it up for you so you can kind of understand a little bit more. It's a very complex tool. It has a lot of stuff inside of there, but you're accustomed to this space, so you understand what I mean. There's a lot of moving parts. But the latest thing we've been working on and building out right now is a scheduler. This has been a big deal, so that you have all of the different staff on one side, and then you could kind of, these are all the different projects that they're working on, and then you can kind of drag and drop and sort of arrange or assign projects to different people and on different days, and it'll do the notifications and the follow-ups and that kind of deal. And then on the dashboard, it's, you know, these are all projects basically, and each project you can obviously drill into the details and do a lot more. Yeah, I'm here to see the typical report SnapSuite could generate. Well, there's tons of reports, but it could generate pretty much any report that you could think of. So normally how the system is set up is that, for example, I'll use quotation as an example, but like we literally pull in like a Word document or any document for that matter. We could generate on any type of Microsoft Word or Excel type of document. So we'll pull in any templates that you have, and then we generate data on top of that. There's a full robust templating system behind this platform. It was designed in an era where the web was not first, right? Like most people, you know, they were still using their file drive system and for Word documents. So we would literally pull up the document from the file system, open up the Microsoft Word document, inject a bunch of data dynamically, including images and stuff like that, stick it together, turn it into a PDF, and then upload it into the cloud. That was literally the original implementation of it. So yeah, in terms of reports, there's tons of stuff inside of here. It'd be too much of an exhaustive conversation to go through. But tell you what, are you in my school community? I don't know if you are. If you're not, join it, because that would be the best way to kind of thing. I don't want to push all my details live here, but or DM me, if either DM me on TikTok or join the school community and then ping me, and then we could hop on a call. I could kind of see what you're doing, because there's so many stuff here to discuss. I'd be derailing and not doing the community justice by talking about this entire thing. But yeah, there's tons of reports and stuff. How do I join the community? Got you. I got you. https://dwayne.me/school, and yeah, DM me, and for sure we could have a conversation. I'd be interested to see what you're doing. What is that software you use to manage your backlogs? Is that self-hosted? Kindly recommend. For backlogs, I actually use just GitHub. So GitHub is my primary tool. We've gone through a ton of different tools. Yeah, absolutely, Mimo. I'm more than happy to chat with you, kind of learn what you're doing, and have a conversation. So we've used a ton of tools in the past. I like literally, I'm talking from Trello to Asana to Notion to Microsoft To Do, like you name it. I've been through all these tools. Of the last couple of years, I'd say 3 years for sure, GitHub has made significant effort in their project management system, and it's much more better, and it's significantly more flexible, and you could do a lot with it now. Like there's a lot of things that you can do with it. So we just it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than where it was a few years, like a couple months ago. It's just gotten significantly better. So now we create one board, and you could customize this board, and we just hyper focus on that one board. There's a lot of things that you could do, have a whole bunch. If you notice, there's like lots of other boards here, but we actually don't use half of them. You could do roadmaps, you could do, filter by priority. Like there's so many things you could do here, but we just literally just use one board. And that's been fantastic. Can you teach me how? Yeah, join the community. Absolutely. Link is at the two message above you. Link is at the above you. So, okay, where are we? Jeez. I am really chatting a lot today. Okay. Do we have tickets now? Let's see. Agents at MDO front end, back end. Okay. So let's see what it did. Let's go back to repo, meeting manager. Right. Okay, so this is our folder structure. Okay, guys, simple. Here's the front end. Here's the back end. This is the docs, right? I can click into the docs and I can see all of my README and my roadmaps and the design decisions and any single thing else that I did, right? It's just a simple folder structure, nothing complicated, nothing fancy. So when I'm building, I know exactly where I'm going for stuff. If I'm dealing with a backend problem, I just go to the backend folder. I'm dealing with a front end problem. I know it sounds like super simple, but it's just, this type of simplicity really allows you to build really large scalable system. And so what I would do in here is if I'm building like a really large project, I would have multiple projects, sub-projects in that front end folder. Same thing goes for the back end. I'm going to spin up multiple Cloudflare workers in that back end. In fact, we're going to do exactly just that, because if I click into the back end, I have a Cloudflare webhook worker, right? That's one project. And we're going to create a meeting manager API backend, right? So let's just do that right now so that we could see it. So I see that you have the Cloudflare worker folder for the backend. Can you add a meeting manager API worker also so that we could deal with the API backend? Right? Why are we doing this? Let me explain this here to make sure that everybody understands it very clearly. No problem, Mimo. I appreciate the fact that you think it's cool. I think it's cool too. So let me just explain why this is important, just to make sure everybody's clear on this here. So thing. So let's just say that we have. Okay, let's just go down a little bit more. Okay, so you got your front end, as I mentioned to you before. This is your front end. We're gonna get FE for front end. Okay, you got your back end. Okay, again, these are the folders, right? So you got your backend, B, E for backend. Okay, in the backend folder, we're gonna have two different folders. We're gonna have a webhook, W, E, oh my goodness, W, E, B, H, O, O, K. I swear, someday I'm gonna get back my pen working. Webhook, and then we have another folder which is going to be your API. Why these two folders? Why are they different? Why are we keeping two separate folders? Well, outside of the obvious, which is really just to kind of keep things contained, there's a security problem that we're going to have. Okay, what is that? The webhook is, so again, what is the purpose of this this tool is so that we can organize our meeting notes. Now, we're not going to be the one that's doing the recording of the meeting notes. Maybe in the future we might build that out, but right now we're not trying to do every single thing. We're just trying to solve a problem, which is organizing data. So we're going to use a tool like read AI, r.ai, right? Or we're going to use, I don't know, Firefly or Otter, or any one of these meeting notes. Zoom has a recorder these days. Even Google has their own. Everybody and their dog has their meeting recorder tool. Okay. So what's going to happen? Those tools are going to be one for going into the meeting and actually recording the meeting. However they do it, doesn't matter to us. They're going to record the meeting. What we're going to do is we're going to basically create a hook, which basically means an endpoint, a URL, right? That we're going to basically put into their tool that's going to point to our tool. That webhook was going to be public. You can't really lock it down too much because the webhook is designed to kind of be open to the internet. So the most you might do is give a unique URL, right? UNIQUE URL, right? Okay. And doing so, then you could kind of at least restrict it so you know for sure that you and one or a few other people have use to it. But it's public. That's the part. That's the whole point of it. It's a public URL. Okay, and in given that public URL, then you need to be able to pull that data. So what I'm going to do is take the public URL and point it to basically the webhook project, and that's isolated. So even if somebody were to hack it, let's just say, it doesn't have a lot of stuff inside of it. It's just very, very basic, right? That is just responsible for just pulling data into my application. And then two things. Either one is I might just basically, if I'm lazy, I might just basically forward the data to my API. But really and truly, the right thing to do here would be to maybe to push that data onto a queue, right? So it's independent, and then this application, my API, would just pull from the queue. So in other words, I'm pulling the data from the public internet, right, at a rapid pace, and I'm basically putting it into, let's call it a bucket or a queue, and that bucket will just kind of sit there with a whole bunch of, I'm going to say, marbles or data inside of it, and then somebody else is going to be responsible for going and take that data and pull it out and then process it on the back end, which means they're going to take it and then put it into the database, right? So in doing that way, I'm kind of isolating the things that are going to be public to my application versus the things that are private and internal, and they're not really talking to each other in that way, right? So that would be the right thing to do here, to kind of separate the layers. And then on top of that, what you really want to do is you want to aggressively rate limit this application, because there's no reason that somebody would be sending you like 100,000 requests per thing. It's impossible for you to have 100,000 meetings, right? So maybe you might have like 1 or 2 meetings an hour, and that is even too much. So you would just aggressively put rate limits on this layer here. So because you know that if you're seeing a whole bunch of spike in traffic coming through it, that 90% of it should just be ignored, because it's probably some sort of hacker or spam attack or whatever the deal is. But more importantly, that allows you to protect your internal API from that external one, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. That's why we're creating those 2 folders. But let's just say in the future, we decided that we wanted to build out some mobile app or something like that, right? What we might end up doing is just creating a new folder and call it mobile API, right? Now the truth is both of them could probably share the same folder, but I'm just giving you guys sort of a way to think about how to keep extending the application, right? And maybe one day, just as a complete random thought, you might have a LinkedIn add-on in Google Chrome. You would just create a new folder, and that would be an API backend specifically for that endpoint. So this way, you're not jumbling all of the code in one sort of platform or one code base, and the AI can just kind of hyper focus on the one layer that it's working on, right? Or the one problem or whatever it is. So yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys get the point there, and it starts to make sense to you and how you could really build large scale systems with this. Okay, so look at this. We got a bunch of tasks. So what do I have here? I got a P1. So here's, okay, so you guys are asking me about the to-do list. So you know what, we're just going to do it for this project. So in my meeting manager project, there's a tab called projects. So I'm going to create a project for it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new project. We're going to call it meeting manager project, because we're very creative around here. And I'm going to call it meeting project, and the repo is meeting manager. Short description: this is the project that will basically help us to keep track of all of our to-do items, etc. Don't need a readme file, so we're just going to save it. And so now that I have a project, because somebody asked about this earlier, so it's blank, right? The thing about the way how GitHub kind of works, and I'm not trying to do a GitHub course here in any single means, is that it basically, when you create a project, so okay, let me back up a bit. If I log into GitHub and I go to a repo, it has issues, and issues was the original implementation. So it has literally all of the issues, and this was literally, for as long as I remember, this was the view that you would use to be able to keep track of issues. The problem with this is that you have to use this sorting tool here and this milestone filter and stuff, and you could use sorted, but you can't really see it, in my opinion, visually of where you are with the project. You have to kind of read the tags to know what's going on here. So they later came up with the concept of a project, but when you create a project and you open it, it's actually just blank. There's no real relationship to the actual issues themselves. So that's kind of a little weird, in my opinion, kind of a weird thing. It's fine. All you have to do is just basically just link it together. So I'm going to rename this view 1 to board view. Board VIEW, right? And then what I'm going to do is, I think I have to click on, let me think about it. I have to click on this, and then I have to, oh no, how do I do it now? I have to, shoot, so how do I do it? So, okay, so I can bring in those issues. See, add item from repository. I could do that, and then I could basically select all of the items from this repository to bring it in. So it's kind of like a two-step process to get an item to a project, right? If that makes any sense. They're not truly connected, and I don't know why. I think there's a way for it to automatically do it, but right now there's not. So I'm going to change this view from a list view, which is basically what I had in the issues, to a board view. So, which I am forgetting how to do, of course, because, you know, yeah, here, sorry, click on view, change it to board view. There we go. Perfect. So now I could save that. Okay, I've changed it into a board view. So I have to do, in progress, done. The two that I normally add are to do next, actually backlog. Okay, always have a backlog item. So I'm going to put that all the way across to the far right, which you would think that the to-do would be in the backlog, but actually, you know what? I rephrase that. I'm gonna rename this from backlog to, I'm gonna name it to-do next. To-do next. Okay, because I tend to like to do this because I want to know what I'm going to be working on next. And I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to rename to do to backlog, because it already has LOG. Okay, so I'm going to put that as backlog. I'm going to put my to do next. Sure, let's edit it and let's put it in a slightly different color. Come on, what's going on? Put it in a slightly different color. To do next. So I got backlog, to do next, what I'm going to be working on next, in progress, and then done. But before done, I normally have in review. Why in review? Because I want to separate the things that I've worked on from the things that I'm testing. Okay, and that's what this is. For most people, it'd be like QA or whatever, right? Okay, so now I can kind of prioritize. So set up Cloudflare host in Air environment. I'm going to definitely do that. Infrastructure, create public work for webhook. I'm not going to do that right now. Database, choose and set up. Yeah, we're going to do that. Infrastructure CI for, no, we're not going to do CI right now. Connect API, webhook implementation, build real data matching companies. We're going to ignore that for now. Actually, we're going to bring that in because we're going to end up doing that as well. And what else? This list is kind of weak. So connect API, routes, and data access layer. Okay, we're going to end up doing this one here. So generally speaking, I try to take like 5 items, right? Try to push them along the needle. So Cloudflare, let's see what we got inside of here. So deploy meeting manager through Cloudflare setup, Cloudflare deployment, etc. Okay, fantastic. We're just going to go with this. I'm not even trying to build the tickets too much. So what I'm going to do, I'm just literally copying the URL, go back to ChatGPT, Claude or Codex, sorry, create a new thing and say, hey, can you, based on the README file and the infrastructure and all that type of stuff, create the database infrastructure for on Cloudflare. Make sure that you preface the name of the database with meeting manager, so we know exactly what database it is, and set up all of the schema, infrastructure, everything. And then when you're finished, update the ticket with all of the things that was done, and then move it to in review. Make sure you set up a CI/CD pipeline as well too, so we can push it up to Cloudflare. Okay, right? So I give it a bunch of stuff. I'm like, here's your ticket, go do your work, move on to the next one. Okay, so what else we want to do? We're going to try and tackle, so that was the Cloudflare infrastructure hosting. Choose the database and setup. Now, okay, I kind of merged two issues together because I told the other one to do it, but technically these two are related, so I'm going to skip that one for now. And then connect API. Okay, I probably can't do any single thing else until I get that database up. So what we're going to do, maybe what we'll do is, let's implement the webhook, because we could kind of pull this one right away in. So I'm going to take this one while I'm waiting. The only reason I know that is because I know that there might be some conflicts on the database side, so I want to wait for one thing to finish. But generally speaking, I would try to work on issues or tasks that are on two completely different sides of the application, so that they don't clutter each other. Okay, so meeting inbound notes. So spin off another task. For the meeting manager webhook project, what I'd like to do is I'd like to basically accept any API, so it doesn't matter the layout or the format, etc. So we accept the API, the JSON as is, we save it right away into a storage that could support JSON, so we have the original at all times. And then I want you to basically, depending on the source that is coming from, you will have a API translation layer that will then translate to a standardized format for any of the APIs that we have. So in this particular case, we have Read AI, Otter, Fireflies, Phantom, TLDR, Seamly, Meet and Greet. You're going to put an API layer that normalizes the sort of key components that we need for the JSON, so that it is standardized on the internal system. Okay. So with that, what am I doing? Does that, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So let me just explain that a little bit more in detail, because it might be a little confusing if you don't know what I'm doing here. So whenever you get, okay, so we're going to get, what's going to happen is we're going to have, let's say, we don't know where we're getting the data from, right? And I'm not trying to lock it into anything, because you guys might be using your own tools as well too. So there might be tons of different APIs out there. So all of them will have some version of a webhook. This is the assumption. We don't know if they do, but they'll have some version of a webhook. Even if they don't, we could put something like Zapier on the in-between, pull the data from that tool, and then basically push it to our tool. In either case, it's going to hit our tool, and the format will be different across each tool. This will have format number, let's say 1, and this will have number 2, and this will have 3. The format is just going to be weird across all the different tools. So I need to basically capture that, dump it into my own database as is. Okay, just in the event that something breaks along the way, I have the data captured, right? And then it'll have something like a status column or something to say that it was received, processed, translated, etc. And then internally, let me use green, or let's use a different color. Let's just use blue. So internally, I might have a translation layer for Read AI. I might have a translation layer for Otter. I might have a translation layer for Fireflies. You got the idea, right? I have all these different translation layers, and I have one piece of code that's going to go pull from the database, right? It'll do it in the same step, but I'm just visually doing this for you guys. And then it's going to basically evaluate the code, and it say, oh, this code here needs to be translated by Read AI, or this code needs to be translated by this layer here. And all that's going to do is, it doesn't matter which one of these formats it comes in, it's going to give me one normalized format. Okay, and that normalized format is what's going to go into my actual database, because that's what I care about, right? Because my API, okay, it's going to pull from that normalized content, and it doesn't really care what, so if I go and add a new tool here, that tool will just basically add it, and I would do is just add another translation layer inside of that webhook. That's basically the idea. All right, so hopefully that makes some sense for you guys on how that actually works. We have detected inactivity during your. Okay. I am live. Yes, I am live. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, something's going on with my TikTok or my Discovery today. It's just doing some weird stuff. So, yeah. AI viewers. Okay, my goodness, this guy. We get this guy every week. So yeah, hopefully that makes some sense. So missed the last part, could you? Yeah, sure, absolutely explain. So okay. Let's talk about what's the goal, okay? Sorry, trying to eat mangoes here. Okay. Let's just at a high level talk about the goal. You're gonna have a bunch of different AIs. So in the app, you're gonna have a bunch of AI that will that you could potentially use. So let me give you an example. Actually, let me give you a real example. So I don't know which AI you guys are using. I'm gonna pretend that every one of you on this live is using a different AI for your meeting notes. Okay? So that's one problem that I have to solve for. I don't know which AI you're using. So I need a way to accept any data from any application, regardless of what type of API you're using, or what type of application you're using. So that's my goal number one. I don't care what application you're using. I will take your data. That's my goal number one. Goal number two, though, is that I have an internal structure that is relevant to me based on my design language and what I'm trying to accomplish. That's going to work for this layout that I want to do. So that's a different internal structure. So what I really need is some in the middle. I need a translation layer, right? In other words, the app speaks French and I speak English. I need somebody in the middle that's going to do the translation for me. And that's what this is. It's a translation layer, right? So on the outside, you're going to give me your French, right? You're going to give me your French in or English or Arab or I don't know, whatever other languages, right? Chinese, right? You're going to give me that and I'm going to just take it. I will just save it locally to my database. So in other words, I have the original transcription or the original text, right? That you give me. And then what I'll do is I will decide based on, once I inspect that data, I will decide, oh, this looks like French. So I'm going to say I need my French in translator, or this looks like Chinese. So I'm going to use my Chinese in translator. This is all just pieces of code, right? But it's just organized in a way so that I could keep adding extra translators, right? Does that make sense? I could keep adding translators to this equation because I might keep adding more languages to the thing. And so with that concept, it doesn't matter which translator, I'm going to translate it back into English for me, right? That's what I'm doing here. And then, only then, I'm going to save it into my database. So I'm only speaking, my application only speaks English, right? But it might be pulling in Chinese or French or whatever it is. Sorry, hang on one second. Buddy, where are you going? Come. What do you need? Sorry, kid is disappearing on me. He's gotten bored.
This is a reminder. Start workout.
Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where he's going. So, computer, stop. So yeah, right? So hopefully that makes some sense as to what's going to do. So the original copy is going to be in the buffer. Yeah, technically in the buffer, but it's not going to be in buffer. We're actually going to store it in, you could call it a buffer, but it's not a true buffer in the traditional sense. It's literally going to be stored in a database. It's just going to be call it in a placeholder database or a temporary database if you want to call it that, right? It's a real database, but its only job is just to take the data in as is. This way, the APIs never break and they never fail. Because what is their job? Their job is to say, you finish the meeting, we're just going to send the data out. That's it. And then my job is just to take the data in and store it. And then somebody else is going to pick up that job and then basically sort of start working on it, right? The reason for doing it this way is because you have created a buffer, basically a buffer, technically is a buffer where the data comes in, it's being worked on, it's stored, and if my application breaks, because it's possible that the translator might just break for whatever reason, it might just break. If it does break, I could go fix the translator because I could look at the logs, see what the problem is, fix the translator, and then go back and pick up the data that came in and then work on it again, right? So that's how it allows me to do that. Got to relax him. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so I'm glad that made sense to you. And then from there, like I said, in my internal app, it's more standardized. So let's see what we got here. All right, so we got okay, implemented webhook. So it implemented a webhook layer. Okay, so that's great. We're gonna see what that looks like in a bit. And then we implemented a Cloudflare D1 database, staging and production. All right, so that's fantastic. So you know what? I'm gonna have to give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna put myself on mute for 1 second. I just gotta go double check where my kid has just disappeared to. He just went upstairs. I'm just gonna make sure. Bear with me for 1 second. I know I'm on a live, but I'm also babysitting. Okay, give me a second. Carter. Everybody's on the internet looking at me. Look, see? Say hi. Say hello. You don't want to say hi? Okay, go do your thing. Go on, go on. Okay, here, eat. Get food. Alright. Watch your show. Okay, we're back. Hopefully you guys didn't lose me. Sorry, he just disappeared. He went all the way upstairs to his room, so I had to go capture him. He's getting bored, so we're gonna have to close off my live soon enough. All right, so where are we? Let's see. Okay, so the good news is, we got a couple of tasks, kind of somewhat done. Okay, so here's the tip. Okay, So now I'm coming back to this. I actually don't know what's done and what's not done, right? So normally what I do is I tell my AI any single time it does something for this task, can you mark the task as being like ready for review, and move it to the review board and put comments on the task, so at least we know exactly what the what was done, right? So I'm telling the AI, make sure that you update the task also, right? Because there's no point on it working on the task. Okay, so it did put some stuff inside. So it said 9 minutes ago, implemented Cloudflare with a whole bunch of stuff. Here's a tip for you guys also. When you do this type of thing, tell it to write a non-technical version for non-technical people. Therefore, you could kind of read at a very high level what it actually did, and then you could dig into the details. Else, it'll just put a whole bunch of technical stuff, and you have to kind of spend a lot of cognitive load to really understand what's going on. Don't do that. Just tell it to write to you. Put some non-technical notes inside of there. So it did say it did. So I'm going to tell it. Okay, ready for review. Okay, so this one I'm going to do it that way. So, hey, can you update the ticket and make sure that you put at the top of the ticket in the comment section, put the non-technical description of exactly what was done, so at least I could follow along with it, and then put the technical details underneath. All right. Can AI write issues in GitHub for me? Hey, that's what we're doing right now, buddy. That's literally what we're doing right now. So here. Every one of these task issues were created by the AI. It already marked them as P1, P2, P3. And then now, as I'm working on them, it's actually adding the comments of exactly, see here, implemented the webhook. It tells me exactly what was changed and exactly what it actually worked on. And then it'll actually tell me, if I wanted to, I could tell it exactly what the next steps are. So the answer to your question is 100% absolutely yes, right? And not only that, I normally tell it to move the ticket along when you actually do it. So this one should be in progress as an example, right? And it's also doing the database one. So it put some notes inside of here. See, 33 minutes ago. So it's done. Yeah, it put some notes inside of there. So we're gonna move that along one as well too. Oh no, sorry. That was which one was that? That was database. Yeah, that was database one, right? So we're like having the AI doing that, no problem, Mr. Nexta. Having the AI do that in GitHub, highly recommended. Do I need to give it my GitHub API token? No. So actually, the way you do it is really just you just log in. So here, if I do @GitHub. See here, there's an option here for GitHub, and when you do that, the connector in, or you could go to settings and do it as well too. There's a under connector here. You could connect your GitHub and is it connections or one of them? Integration. They keep moving stuff around inside of here. In either case, if you do @GitHub, it'll just prompt you. It'll just open up your GitHub. You just click on login, and it'll just automatically do that dance for you to connect it, because GitHub now has a public MCP server, so it just logs in the same way, right? But hands down recommended. In fact, 90% of my tickets are updated by GitHub. And you probably weren't here earlier, but what I was saying is that what you want to do is have I have a scheduled routine that basically tells it runs a daily schedule that goes to GitHub, finds the top 5 issues and works on them. Sometimes I'll tell it to take only the medium to low items where there's like no risk from like breaking code or whatever, and just fix them every single day at 2 a.m. And actually this one runs at 3 a.m. So having it do that consistently every day, and then give me a report of exactly which tickets it worked on, see here, and why it worked on the tickets, see here. So it said these 5 tickets here already fixed, verified, and waiting for QA to run. This one here is already implemented. These 3 here, broader scheduler documentation, not low risk. So it's saying these ones here you need to go look at yourself, because there's some risky stuff that you need to do here. So by telling it to do that, it just automatically every single day just keep prioritizing, sorting, and organizing all of the tickets, so that you could just basically address and focus on the ones that are like really worth your time and energy. So yeah, whoa, Good. I'm glad that I could blow your mind. So yeah, that is a thing. That is 100% thing, and I do that every single day. This is literally how I work on all tickets thing, right? So for example, just a live example here, we're gonna connect the routes to the API data layer so we could think. So I'm just gonna give it this ticket, right? Come back inside of here, go back to GitHub, and I'm gonna open up a new thing here and say, can you work on getting the API set up? Make sure that you set up the API in relation to the data schema, and we'll obviously need to set up some security as well too. So keep that in mind. I'm not going to focus on the security layer right now, so just get the API working. For now, take the data, the sample data that we have, and then just seed it into the database, just so at least we have something to test against to make sure that all the API endpoints are working. And then also we'll need to put some tests on the API as well too. So if you can implement that, when you're finished, update the ticket, put the non-technical update on the ticket itself, so at least I know exactly what was done, and then put the technical details below, and then label the ticket as in review so that we can review it. Okay, so notice what I just did there. I just gave it a whole bunch of stuff on what to do with the ticket, and then I basically just give it the ticket, and I moved on to the next thing. Next item in the list, please, right? And that's been my workflow pretty much, I'd say, for the last couple of months now, to be able to move through just a bunch of tickets like really rapidly. I won't go back to that ticket until I get a notification that it's done or that it's ready for review, right? So that was this one here. I'm just moving it to in review, so it just makes it a little bit clear in progress. And then we want to build, let me see, so build the real data matching for companies, contacts, and attendees. So, okay, got you. So what we want to do here is the relationships. So you know what, I'm going to wait on this one here because I got to wait on the other one to finish. So we're going to think, let's see if we could tackle any other items on the list. Search, make the search filters work in real time. Okay, so we're going to tackle the search for sure. Replace prototype AI with secure AI jobs. Okay, so let's do this one here. We're going to build this one. So replace the prototype AI with secure AI jobs. So I'm just going to get it to do the infrastructure for this one here because we're going to be using Cloudflare backend. So we're going to set up an API gateway to kind of do it with Cloudflare. So what I'll do is we'll spin off another task on this one here. Create new. So can you use Cloudflare API gateway in order to be able to extract the meeting and be able to summarize it, etc. Keep in mind that one of the goals of this implementation is so that we can ask a question, for example, like give me a summary of all the things that I've done with this company for the last 6 months, and then have you pull that data and be able to generate sort of a report against it. And the other thing that I'd like to be able to do is to be able to put to extract to-do list items from the meeting, so that we can put them as to-do items from the meeting transcript, etc. So those are the two different workflows, in addition to obviously searching the meeting notes and being able to ask questions against the actual meeting or translate and summarizing it. So update this, use this ticket, update the ticket, put the non-technical details on what is actually done, how it works, and then basically put the technical details below it. Okay, exact same procedure, paste it, let's go, send off. I'm pulling in 10 to 12 hours daily on work. Hey man, welcome to the club. You know what? If you use this method that I just showed you, maybe you might be able to shrink an hour or two down. But being able to organize your tickets using Codex, this is Codex by the way, fantastic tool. By the way, I do that with ChatGPT online as well too, but the Codex tool, because it knows my actual local repo, it has significant more context, right? But yeah, highly recommend. By the way, pro tip for you, since you asked the question, next that one of the things that you can do with ChatGPT is I will say something like this: hey, can you review the all my emails, look for the support ones specifically from my clients for the last, let's say, 24 hours, and then basically come up with a list of potential GitHub items that that we can create tickets from, and then and get it to create the tickets. So I would do something like that, have it go through the entire go through my email last 6 months, last 3 months, whatever it is, last year, pull out all the things, organize them, put them by priority. I'll look at them and then I'll back and forth with it to tell it how to organize it, and then basically tell it to go create GitHub items for it. So just eliminating all that workflow. The good news about doing it that way is that the tickets are extremely consistent, because you could give it a format of how the ticket should be done, and then there's no human being that has to deal with all that problem of organizing it properly. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, what else we got? What else are we doing? So we gotta wait on some of these tasks to finish, else we're gonna step on each other's toes here. So we got a couple of things, so we'll just chit chat for a bit until we get some stuff. But in either case, I think we got some work done, which hopefully you guys felt like we did some things. So I've added a non-technical grade. Okay, so let's go look at the tickets to see what it actually put together. And there we go. I thought you had independent agents to build and handle your tasks. Yes, I do that also. Right now we're building this out together as a group. This is a public repo, so I'm trying to steer non-technical / junior level developers into how I am thinking about things. So I can't do agents all the time. It's not the preferred way to teach, or at least at this stage. Okay, so if I go to issues and I go to projects, if I go to project and I go to here and I click on these tasks, I could see at least a non-technical. Did I do it for this one? No, I didn't. Of course I didn't. Let's go to this one here and see. So what's my, of course I didn't update this one as well. I'm telling you guys to do stuff, and none of these tickets have any updates. Okay, let's go to the to-do ones. Yeah, here we go. Right, so implemented Cloudflare D1 database. We have two different databases. Okay, so this is fine. We got to do a deployment and we'll see what's going to happen there. Documented the D1 database names, etc. That's the other thing. It knows it's supposed to do documentation, so it's just kind of doing it. I didn't mention it, but it should. Now, there's one thing that if you notice, I keep repeating the same thing over and over. So I'm just doing that just because I'm on a live and I'm just kind of telling you guys. But see this notes that it did here, right? Replace prototype with secure infrastructure. So it just basically updated this notes. And then what else did it do? Oh, interesting. I think it actually just updated the ticket with the meeting notes, meeting ask, meeting translate, flow, etc. So it's probably let me see. Is it working on this ticket right now? Let's see. Yeah, it's working on meeting workflow. That's fine. Setup API. Yeah, okay. So is that the same ticket? Let me just double check. No, it's not the same ticket. It's not the same ticket. So you know what I have to do? I have to wait until this task finish, and then I'll tell it to go back and review all the tickets and then figure out, because I made some mistakes. I kind of step on each other's toes with the ticket system. So I'm going to try to backtrack a little bit and get it to kind of clean up the mess, because we have, see, replace prototype API with secure server API jobs, which is basically the same thing as what I'm actually working on right this minute, just in a different ticket. So I'm going to get it to go review that. I thought, yeah, I had independent translate or transliteration. Okay, now you're gonna have to help me with your big fancy word here, buddy. TRANS. Did I get that right? SLITERATION. Okay, help me out. Transliteration is a process of converting written text from one script to another by matching phonetic sounds. Okay, yeah, okay, sure. So this is more, I've never heard of this word before, by the way, but that's basically what it is. That's essentially what it is. Technically, it's translation, I guess. So how would this be used in the context TXT of programming? JSON, right? So In programming JSON, translation refers to the phonetically converting of text from one written system to another. Yes, converting Hindi language to alphabet to G. So, okay, developers frequently use translation when working with JSON to maintain standardized text encoding. So it's not necessarily this per se. This is getting down into a weed of a rabbit hole of converting languages, but it's the same concept. Like if I'm translating one JSON to another, let me just get ChatGPT to help us with this. So I'm translating one JSON to another. Like for example, I have a bunch of webhooks coming from multiple different applications, and I want to translate it into or normalize the data into my own JSON internally. Is that translation? Help me out with this. So I don't think it's quite translation, right? Which is more specific to language. At least that's my interpretation based on what you guys give me. Let's see here. So the word you're looking for is data transformation, right? On JSON mapping, not translation. Yeah, that's what I figured, because this was very specific to language, and I kind of used the language analogy, so I understand how you got there. But yeah, data transformation is a better word to use instead of JSON, right? So JSON mapping. Mapping fields from one JSON to another, right? So whereas translation is this sort of like basically translating a different language to a different language kind of deal. So my example, right, I have first name underscore last name, last name underscore last name, first underscore name, last underscore name, email underscore email address, and I'm getting transformed to a object called contacts, and it's first name with a capital N, no underscore, last name, capital N, no underscore, email. Right, so that's the translation that I'm doing, and that has to happen between multiple different providers, if that makes sense. Right, so yeah, but appreciate the question though. I've never heard of that word before ever in my life, so you just taught me something new. Learn something new every day, and that's why we do these lives. Yeah, so anyway, okay, so we're gonna try to close things off, just because, you know, I don't want to be disrespectful to my kid all day here. And he's been patiently waiting. He's only 4, by the way. So you guys got to give him a round of applause. Actually, you guys got to give me some more hearts, just because he just stayed quiet the whole time for this live, with the exception of trying to escape for a few minutes there. Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. So we're gonna get off here. We're gonna go to the park. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna go chill out. But yeah, I was scared. I was scared to have to have kids. Or are you talking about, or you're scared for me? Anyway, don't be scared. They're a bundle of joy and trauma, all wrapped up into one. But yeah, no, he's awesome. He's fantastic. You say hi, Carter? You say hi. Wave to them. Say hello. No. Okay. Yeah. We've met the quota of being nice today, so anyway, so what are we going to do? We're going to wrap this up. So the bottom line is, actually I'm going to get it to do one more thing, which I'll think. So it's like, I'm going to tell it, hey, can you go through? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it the URL to my projects, right, to my inventory. I'm going to do projects. I'm going to do my I'm going to go back to the repository. I'm going to go to issues. I'm going to give it the report to the issues, and then I'll tell it. I'll be like, I'll just tell it to just help me to just reorganize this a little bit, because my task list of what I'm supposed to do in relation to the issues is a little bit off sync, and I don't want to think about it, right? So I'm going to say, hey, I might have worked on a few issues and merged them into the same ticket. So if you could do me a favor, audit all of the tickets, figure out where we have overlaps, either merge them or merge them if there's a need to merge them, and then create new tickets where necessarily to fill in the holes of what's missing with the application. Every single thing needs to be in order, P1, P2, P3, so that we can figure out the order and how we have to actually do things. And then the goal is to be able to do a deployment and get it tested on Cloudflare. All right. So yeah, so I'll just, I forgot to give it the link. Hang on. Here's the link. All right. So it'll just go through and just organize the tickets and just kind of figure out what are the real main things that we need to focus on, so I could just kind of think about it. But hopefully you guys got some value from this, right? We got a bunch of tickets in here, and again, this is a public repo, so you guys could go look at the code and pull it out. And just to recap, what we did is basically we created a front end folder, a back end folder, and a docs folder. And as I'm building, the docs are just going to be populated with details. I should actually put that in the agents. We have an agent.md folder file that has all of the different rules and all of the schema and every single thing based on the back and forth conversation. And then we have a README file, right? What I'm going to do by next week is we're going to deploy this to Cloudflare. We're going to set the whole thing up, and then we're going to start getting some actual APIs to send data to it and see if we can actually get the whole thing live. But I'm going to keep working on this here. I'm going to do this live just purely around this for a bit, just so that we could actually get this fully working. And then, like I said, it's MIT license, so you guys could go in there, pull it out, build a company around it, do whatever you want with it. Yeah, we're just solving problems, because you might get Russian text from one of the recorder where we apply translation. Yes, 100%. So that's a little bit of a nuanced details, and like I said, I've never heard that word before, but you're 100% right. I might have a bunch of Russians that are using my app and need to get it translated to English. So yeah, why not, right? So the good news is, once you have that structure, you could just bake in additional layers into it, right? Like you can come in here to your translation layer, and you could just add another layer underneath here that basically just kind of deals with those nuances in the language, right? You could keep extending. The key here is not necessary to solve all the problem at once, is to build out the infrastructure so that you can keep extending, because that's what makes great software, right? By the minute you start going out and you actually start talking to real customers and real people, you're going to find a ton of different set of problems. And those problems, the reality is that you're going to have to keep iterating on the software, and being able to kind of isolate the code, segment the code, and build sort of like islands of functionality becomes extremely important. So yeah, with that, listen, it's been a pleasure as always hanging out with you guys. If you're new here and you don't know who I am, or you didn't know about the school community, join the school community. It's a free community where we actually share lots of DWAIN/school. And yeah, come hang out with me in school community. There's a bunch of stuff coming. I keep saying that every single week, but there are a bunch of stuff coming in there. I'm going to be revamping the whole every single thing, because I've learned a lot in just doing these lives. So there's a lot more tutorials that I'm working on specifically to kind of organize things based on all the questions and things that you guys have asked over the years, or over the few months or whatever. Here we got 4 members. We're 202 members inside of here, which is pretty amazing. When I started this, I was happy that I had 13. So to see 200 people inside of here, that's fantastic. So yeah. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Enjoy your weekend. Next weekend will be a weird time. So the 4th of July and we got Canada Day coming up in whatever cases. So I may or may not be on next week. I'll see. I don't know as yet. I'll play it by ear. But in either case, join the community. Message me in the community any single time. Post where you're working on in the community, because that helps also to know what you guys are working on. And I'm going to start spending some time in here a little bit more. I've been a little bit off. Let's be honest with you. I've been so busy in my own world. I haven't been spending much time. But I promise you guys, I'm going to be engaging with you a little bit more inside of here. I see Claude posted some stuff. Thomas posted some stuff inside of here. So I'm gonna go spend some time in here. All right, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Spend some time with your family. Super important. And the thing that I started out with at the starting of this here is, like, you know what, book some time with your actual family. Like, schedule it in, pencil it in, because it's so important. Okay, with that, I will see you guys in another live. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye bye.